Welcome back for another video. The Expert Series is back for 23-24, the final upload before each game week with data from some of the greatest all-time managers. We've got 200 participants this season. We have a collective rank history of 5 finishes in the top 100 in the world, 51 top 1Ks and 326 top 10Ks between them. Last season 46 of our managers finished in the top 10K. You won't find a better data set anywhere, so make sure you subscribe to follow this each week. If you're new to the series, every game week we send the same questions out to them, their transfers, captain, chip active if any, and then we look at the experts template team. This project's a monumental undertaking. Tracking hundreds of top managers with pre-deadline data takes a lot of effort, so before we kick off, a few thank yous to those that have helped make this possible. PremierFantasyTools.com, who built a manager tracker that allows me to track all the 200 managers. PlanFPL.com for their planner tool that's used in every video. And lastly, Fpl Couche, who is one of the experts, and for this season he built a custom web page for our experts to use each week. So let's get into it. Game Week 1's episode will look slightly different. We don't have to look at their transfers and that sort of stuff. Instead we're going to jump straight into their most owned players, so let's break it down by position. These are places where you'll find an edge. Turner comes in as their top owned goalkeeper with 74% ownership. Meanwhile, the overall player base, he's 9.6% owned. In case you missed it, Nottingham Forest have signed him from Arsenal, so we've got a first choice goalkeeper for 4 mil. There's also reports that Heaton's picked up an injury, which could also force Henderson to stay at Man United. He had been rumoured with a chance to join Forest as well. The other great thing about Turner is he rotates nicely with some of the other goalkeepers. I've put together a graphic here showing the best rotation pairs with Turner at the top, so Pickford, Anana, Flecken, Steele and Johnston. Don't count on Forest for clean sheets, but you can clearly see Game Week 2 and 5 are a couple of examples as opportunities to give him a game. Pickford, the most owned goalkeeper that will be a regular starter with 34.7% ownership, followed by Anana with 29.9% and then Johnston with 22.1%. So let's move on to the most owned defenders among the experts. Estepinha 95% owned, Gabriel 93% and Chilwell 72%. This will be the starting back three in many of their teams, I imagine. Hard to argue with any of the picks. The bookies' odds heavily favouring Brighton and Arsenal for a clean sheet in Game Week 1. Chelsea far less so, but Chilwell the most attacking of the three, and he'll take some corners even. FPL is supposed to be about enjoyment at the end of the day, and both Estepinian and Chilwell are going to be enjoyable watches. Last pre-season match, Estepinian was fouled in the box and he won a penalty, so these are the sort of positions that they take up at times. So the verdict is in on the 4 mil defenders, and it's close actually. The experts' favourite is Bulldog, but not significantly. Kabore in second with 36% and Bayer in third 23.6%. It really is close. Bulldog and Kabore playing in wing back, so they do have a higher chance of an attacking return. You do want to always put yourself in a position to get lucky. However, they'll have worse clean sheet potential over the season than Bayer. Udogi's one that leaps out here to me. The biggest discrepancy percentage wise, surely. 1.8% owned in the overall player base, 7.5 times that among the experts. If you're not aware of him, he looks like Postecoglou's clear first choice left back for just 4.5 mil. Instructed to bomb forward, underlapping Son at times, popping up in the box and shooting. He even scored in pre-season. Could be a hidden gem there. So let's look at the midfielders then. Saka comes in at a skyrocket 97.6% ownership. Testament to how valuable he looks as an asset. Only Haaland higher owned. It's a Man United double up with Rashford 85.8%, Bruno 72% and Martinelli 44%. In Mbeumo, the most popular of the 6.5 mil mids, Mitoma close behind 33% and Eze 22.8% owned. Martinelli seems to be the favoured one here over Odegaard for 0.5 mil less. On to the forwards before we move on. Haaland comes in at 99.2% owned, just a single expert's going into Game Week 1 without him. I had a check into the manager notes and all they submitted was no Haaland, no problem. João Pedro comes in with 58% among the experts and Mubama 57%, so the majority are running with a 3-5-2 formation and stacking that money in midfield. Watkins 33% owned, Jackson 12.6%. So that's the breakdown by position, and we'll have a look at the experts team built from their highest owned players later in the video. A very quick look at chip usage, and 2 experts have got their bench boost active in Game Week 1. We managed to catch up with one of them this week, so we'll hear what he had to say in a moment. If you're new to this series, we like to get our experts involved when possible, and Game Week 1's a great opportunity to hear from them. Marku is 9th in Scout's all-time Hall of Fame, a record that speaks for itself here, an average rank over the last 8 seasons of 8.9k and a highest finish of 123rd. He sent in his team to us, which is as follows, and here's what he had to say. This team has 1 mil in the bank, which was done with a late wildcard in mind, but wildcard in Game Week 9 also a possibility if needed. I've chosen Pickford and Turner goalkeeper combo because they rotate beautifully and Henderson shouldn't be a threat until later, if not an Forest signing. I love Ederson even with the punishment he put me through last season, but the slight risk of Ortega has put me off. In defence, I've gone mostly template with Chilwell sitting on the bench waiting for Chelsea's great fixture run from Game Week 3 onwards. With rumours of Ruben not travelling, I've picked Stones. I'm very high on City defence as they are statistically the best defence in the league and they underperformed last season on their clean sheets. Botman I've picked instead of a 4 mil defender because that's one transfer I don't have to make later when Newcastle's fixtures turn and he is quite frankly underpriced. In midfield I've gone for Man United and Arsenal double ups, all 4 of great expected minutes with Bruno and Saka having penalties as well. I think Martinelli and Havertz are also great picks if the money saved enables other upgrades. For example, if I had gone for Jackson as one of my forwards, I would have had Havertz instead of Odegaard. As my 6.5 mil mid, I've gone for Mbeumo over the other popular picks like Mitoma. Mitoma has a great 3-week run, but Mbeumo's fixtures are better in the long term. Mbeumo is also on penalties and set pieces, so that boosts his appeal. On the forwards, I've chosen Haaland, João Pedro and 4.5 mil bench fodder. I was tempted to go Watkins or Jackson, but with João Pedro, I want to attack Brighton's great early fixtures. With 1 mil in the bank, I have some flexibility to upgrade João Pedro when I can, but my squad is strong enough to just bench him if I have other fires to burn. Odegaard will be a possible downgrade to further enable the João Pedro upgrade. Thanks Marky, best of luck this season. And lastly, we've got Ben's team here, Evolution FC. He's got a very respectable rank history, including top 10k last season, and his bench boost is active this game week, one of 2 managers with it active. I had to take the opportunity to speak to him, and here's what Ben had to say. Based on any late news, I will tinker, but this is where my Game Week 1 team stands. I've decided to activate the bench boost so that I can more optimally use my wildcard in the second half of the season. According to Ben Crellin, there is a chance that the only game week with more than 11 fixtures is Game Week 37, and by then rotation will come in heavy with all teams. As the second wildcard is very powerful since it allows you to navigate the blanks and doubles, I think it would be wasteful to have to use it on a bench boost that would be subpar compared to past seasons. In addition to this, lots of the players that have a nice immediate fixture, such as the United assets, don't have such a nice medium-term fixture and vice versa. So on a Game Week 2 wildcard, I get to punt on Palace, Brighton United players, and then bring in Chelsea, Spurs and Salah for their nice run of fixtures. I can also take punts on City players based on team news, knowing I don't have to commit. For example, if Alvarez is rumoured to start, I can bring him in knowing he won't be an issue in the coming game weeks when De Bruyne is fit again and he's a rotation risk. Good luck on the bench boost, Ben. On to the Game Week 1 captaincy then. We won't dwell on this segment for too long, it is a bit lopsided. Perhaps not as lopsided as you might expect though. Haaland comes in with 89% of captaincy, Saka with 9%, and then Fernandes and Havertz captained by 1 manager each. The risk is obvious, betting against Haaland early, but if it comes off, it is a play that could immediately propel you up the ranks. He was very quiet in the Community Shield, no shots or touches in the box. Last year he did also blank in the Community Shield, but he was way lively that game and unlucky not to be involved on the score sheet. Saka in my eyes looks the best Haaland alternative. So on to the Experts team, built from their Milestone Players within budget, and the team is as follows. It's Pickford in goal, a back three of Estepinian, Gabriel and Stones. It's midfield 5, Saka vice captain, Rashford, Fernandes, Martinelli and Mbeumo. Up top is Haaland and João Pedro. 2 mil in the bank in this draft by the way, which could be used to upgrade João Pedro to Jackson, could be Pickford to Onana or even Ederson, or it could just be saved for a future game week. The top ownership percentages down the left hand side will be included each week, and from Game Week 2 we'll also have the overall percentage ownership, so you can compare which players the experts are really keen on, which everyone else might be overlooking. Each game week we ask the experts to send in their tips and final thoughts for the game week ahead. Fpl Player says, now is not the time to worry about ownership, it's not a problem to go with a template team. Sean Coe says, taking a punt on double Brighton defence for the first 2 game weeks of the season. Andrew Debenham says, we'll be interested to monitor the number of clean sheets early doors. World Cup style injury time could see the death of big at the back. FPL Spaceman, who finished number 1 in the world last season on FPL Review's massive data rank, says, best of luck to everyone, it's a long season, don't panic and use your transfers wisely. Colonial says, keep 0.5 mil in the bank just in case you need a player who has increased 0.1 mil in value, and plan to have players who you will need for Game Week 2 or possibly 3 on the bench. Jason Fleming says, it may seem obvious, but if you're unsure as to whether you want Salah or not heading into Game Week 1, a useful pre-season tip is to explore a few different drafts with him and without him, and weigh up the pros and cons of how it impacts the rest of your team. This thought process will help justify your decision making and make it clear what sacrifices you'd be willing to take to have him in your team. Benny M90 says City team leaks will be key, potential to go Ortega over Turner, Gvardiol in over one of the other defenders, or Foden for Martinelli. Have a flowchart ready with multiple drafts depending on the City lineup. Tiki Saka says anxiety and excitement ramping up ahead of the season, good luck to all feeling the same. And lastly, Thorfinn says FPL is back, baby. So that's it, the final upload. Hit subscribe to follow the series every gaming throughout the season. A massive thank you to the experts for their ongoing participation, and thanks to you for watching. We'll be live for the Game Week 1 deadline later. See you then.